And tonight, the electronic transaction levy is expected to strengthen the country's revenue going forward, but there is uncertainty regarding its performance. That's the view of the Ghana Markets Review and Outlook report by Databank Research. My colleague Charles Nixon-Yabua has been looking through the report and has more.
The report said the uncertainty surrounding parliamentary approval and potential behavioral changes in the use of the digital payment system pose a risk to the expected yield. The projected revenue from the e-levy is 6.96 billion cedis, representing 46% of the new revenue expectation of 15 billion cedis. Against this backdrop, Databank Research said the extra revenue expectation and the total revenue target of 100.5 billion cedis are quite ambitious. Therefore, there is a risk of budget underperformance in 2022. However, it said stricter enforcement of the Ghana Integrated Financial Management Information System could strengthen the expenditure controls and support budget performance. It forecast an overall budget deficit, including bailout costs, to range between 8.2% and 9.2% in relation to the size of the economy. It added that given the steep climb in the debt to GDP ratio and the debt service to revenue ratio, a faster compression in the budget
impact on cost of housing. Executive Secretary Samuel Amegaibo has been letting us in on the current challenges.
Materials like iron rod, cement, and most of the major materials that we import, especially that we import, because of the freight charges and lack of it, scarcity of it, most of us are paying a lot more for the building materials than we used to pay for since COVID early last year. And we haven't seen any adjustment or any effect of anything that is going to bring the cost down at the moment. We have had stakeholder engagement. We have met government officials to the point of meeting parliamentarians to discuss how best this can be done down as we speak. Depending on what the effects are. So, for example, material constitutes a percentage of the price builder for every developer. So the effect of that will be calculated based on that. And all the others that we know, it will have some impact. And so every developer is going to look at the various price builders to it.
Well, from housing, let's turn to food matters. And Ghana spent an estimated total of 6.8 billion cedis in rice importation from 2017 to 2020 to supplement local production. The increasing consumption of rice in the country has necessitated a local initiative to satisfy the demand and reduce cost of rice importation. In a bid to have Ghana produce adequate rice locally, the Crops Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is educating farmers on techniques to increase rice yields. Emmanuel Bright Kwaku has more in this report.
An annual increase of 60 kg per person rice consumption. However, current rice production meets less than 40% of consumption requirements in Ghana. The Bekwai municipality, like many rice farming communities, suffers lower and nutritious rice yields. Emmanuel Mensah is Director of Agriculture at Bekwai.
Came out with the issue of noxious weed, different types of, and they came up with a solution. But before they can take any decision, they have to establish a demonstration so that the farmers themselves will take part in the demonstration. Whatever activity goes on, they will be part. So they came to establish this demonstration to curtail the issue of the different types of weed that affects the crop.
Rice demand in the country is rapidly growing at 5% per annum, which would require commensurable production. Their exposure to the new technologies. Amina Mohammed and Issa Numfam have been working as rice farmers for close to 10 years now.
The new technologies are way better than our traditional style of.
Grateful to the government for bringing this rice production initiative to this area. This has really helped us. I've been working on this rice farm for years, but there was no improvement.
To reduce Ghana's cost of importing rice, researchers of the Crops Research Institute introduced the farmers to new rice farming technologies and improved rice.
The main problem they face is how their lands are prepared. Their lands are prepared poorly. They do not make bonds around their farms. And so water control on their fields are difficult. We taught them how to prepare bonds around their fields. We showed them how to prepare canals to let in water into their fields and out when the water is too much. We also showed them how to prepare nursery and how to transplant. We told them that transplanting one seedling per hill is the best.
It is the hope of these farmers and crop researchers to support government initiative of ending the importation of rice by 2024. However, they are calling on government to provide enhanced technological tools to produce more rice.
We head to the Volta region where an agro-processing company, Sun City Farms, is positioning itself to contribute to create a robust local economy in the Afajoto South district. The company, which is setting up a food processing plant, hopes to create over 350 direct and indirect jobs for residents to help reduce unemployment and improve livelihoods. The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, was excited about the project when he toured the factory site during a visit to the district.
The management of Sun City Farms organic crops. Multi-purpose factories are being constructed to process produce from the farm fields into finished products for export. 8 structures are being erected here to house different food processing plants. A unit would contain about 4,000 tons capacity warehouse, a processing unit, offices, and a staff apartment. They would also construct a packing unit, a quality control unit, a multi-purpose sports complex, and a health facility for use by the staff in the enclave. The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, after touring the facility, was in
a factory that will process the pepper and the ginger and other things. And we've a lot of equipment have arrived already. They are being installed, and there are even produce ready to be processed. Now there's a dryer to do that. So this dryer is going to dry onions, pepper, and ginger.
Yes.
Yes, and ginger. So they are going to produce pepper powder, chili powder, ginger powder, and then process the cashew. They've been of cashew farm that they think that the processing will begin from their own produce. Then later, through the assembly, they will have outgrowers. It is very impressive, and we are happy that such a facility has been located in the Afajoto district of our country, which is known for agribusiness. And
Fred Kwame Asari, JoyNews.
You're watching Business Live. Still to come, how SNS Urban Clothing is offering a breath of fresh air to Ghana's fashion industry. That's ahead on the Joy Business Van.
About 2 years ago, I re-registered as a limited liability under the corporate name SNS Legacy Company Limited, and I changed the clothing.
All right, welcome back to Business Live. Now, when Fafali Amengo started SNS Urban Clothing, she didn't anticipate she would one day make clothes for Ghana's president and a fashion business. She tells us what is making her brand SNS Urban Clothing stand out on today's episode of the Joy Business Van. The Joy Business Van is brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and MTN.
Hello, Joy Business Van. My name is Fafali Amengo, and you're welcome to SNS Urban Clothing.
Bold, cried Fafali Amengo. Fafali likes to challenge herself too, and that is why after 6 months in banking, she decided to do something else.
Fashion is something that came to me after I left my banking job, and I think I opted for fashion because it's actually a family in the fashion industry. So when I decided to come out and start my own business, fashion was kind of like a natural instinct that came to me.
Fafali knew it was a competitive market, but but she was more positive about creating her own niche.
So we started in 2017. It was registered as Stick and Stitches as a sole proprietor, and I found that a lot of people weren't able to pronounce it correctly, so I decided to go by SNS. So about 2 years ago, I re-registered as a limited liability under the corporate name SNS. Stands for Strong and Secure Legacy Company Limited, and the fashion line is called SNS Urban Clothing.
SNS Urban Clothing, as the name suggests, was to introduce something fresh, something new, something in vogue in a world of fashion.
What we try to do is to place ourselves in the shoes of the customer. So the question is, what would my customer like to wear? Before we bring out a clothing item, we do our own research. We go online. That is the first thing we do. We find what is trended, because you cannot sell something people don't like. After that, we do a lot of individual interviews. We contact our existing customers. Hey, what do you think about this clothing? And it doesn't end there. We still go on. We actually started with just one hand machine. I was sewing alone under some tree behind my house, and about 4 years down the line, we've been able to grow. We've been able to invest in some industrial machines, some knitting machines, some embroidery machines and whatnot. So it's been a steady growth. Our best selling right now for the past 1 month is iconic red two-piece. I think I have it here. So it's a simple palazzo pants with the top. The top is actually a front tie top, and this is how the pants look like. The fabric is very comfortable, as well as the elastic band waist. And I mean, ladies, we don't always have pockets, but this one has pockets. And I think the reason for the appeal is the color, and also the whole flare. It fits everybody type. Everybody type can wear it. So that's our best selling, one of our best selling outfits.
Of corporate customers who form the core of her clients. She's clothed Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo and the late President J.J. Rawlings, a remarkable feat that has given her business further boost. The highlight of her career has been her nomination among 40 Under 40 award recipients, recognizing Ghana's most influential and accomplished young business leaders under the age of 40. Fafali is embarking on a new project to portray Africa through fashion. She's producing what she calls the African village handbags and backpacks.
We wanted to create something that the African child can relate to, because we see a lot of Elsas and a lot of Snow Whites, but decided to create a backpack like this, and we decided to call it the Brown Skin Tales. And we also have it in a form of lunchbox and pencil cases.
SNS Urban Clothing has its own challenges, just as any business, but Fafali believes consistency pays. Now, she's looking to expand.
In expansion, it's the desire of the brand to also make sure that we are employing as many people as possible. This is a skilled base. We have some opportunities, some funding, some contracts to be able to expand in these areas. The next 5 years, I would really like to see the brand grow. Our tagline is memories you can wear, and we want a lot of people to be wearing memories. We want people to own an item from SNS.
The Joy Business Van was brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and MTN, everywhere you go. All right, we have some more time to bring you this story. As part of reviving the hospitality industry post-COVID-19, GIZ Ghana is set to train 120 youth through its Hospitality Learning and Job Creation Hub. According to Head of Business and Investment, Anne-Marie Castell-Langeveld, the move is to provide practical, customer-centric and coaching services that will create job opportunities. There's more in this report.
The hub is jointly implemented by GIZ Ghana and the Meltwater Entrepreneurial School of Technology. The project will provide a tailor-made training for upcoming frontline hospitality personnel. This is intended to increase job creation opportunities. Here is the Head of Business and Investment for GIZ Ghana, Anna-Marie Castell-Langeveld.
The main breaking point when it comes to investing in Ghana is the lack of training in specific sectors. So when we discuss with hospitality players, industry players, we realize that there is a common ground. We have European companies, Ghanaian companies, hoteliers, restaurants, who would like to grow, to have more investment in Ghana, but they all say what we need is well-trained employees.
At the launch, portfolio advisor for the Meltwater Entrepreneurial School of Technology explained the need to invest in such initiatives.
I think the cost of running a business in Ghana is particularly lower than the cost of running a business in Nigeria. And given Nigeria's, I think, bursting ecosystem, and I think being in it often probably will not give the right sense of direction for Twitter as a company. So being outside it and watching what Nigeria is able to do on the Twitter platform while observing it from Ghana, I think personally is better. And I definitely do not feel that it will undermine Twitter's establishment in an office in Accra.
The project will provide direct jobs to about 90 upcoming hospitality personnel.
Up next, your money tip on Money Lab.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Money Lab. We looked at a depository account in the previous edition. Today we'll talk about a depository statement. What is a depository statement? A depository statement shows the equities and fixed income securities one possesses in his or her account, and it shows inflows and outflows of those securities.
And that's Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. We have more on our top story, e-levy to anchor revenue outlook, but uncertainty hangs on performance. That's according to Databank research. So you can read more about that, plus other stories on myjoyonline.com/business. Thanks for watching. We're back same time tomorrow.